The Harvest House. No GPS showed it. Locals warned against it. But the house still stood. Miles off Route 42, hidden behind a forest of dying oak trees, sat an old farmhouse known by few as the Harvest House. It had no official record, no address. But it had a story. A story about the Walker family, who moved there in 1971 and vanished 6 months later. Their furniture remained. Their food rotted in the fridge. But not a single trace of them was ever found. Some said it was demons. Others whispered about pagan rituals. But most just said, "Don't go there." Elliot didn't care. He was a documentary filmmaker chasing fame. The house that ate a family would be his breakout. He arrived with his girlfriend Rachel and their friends Travis and Naomi. One weekend, 4 cameras, flashlights, a drone, and every paranormal tool Amazon sold. The moment they crossed the rusted gate, Rachel said it felt wrong. "Like the house is breathing," she whispered. They all laughed, but the wind didn't. Day 1, 4:12 p.m. The house loomed, 3 stories tall, collapsing in sections, paint peeled to bone. A swing creaked slowly out front, though there was no breeze. Inside, the air was thick and moist. Mold crept across the walls. A rotten smell came from the basement door, nailed shut with chains. The living room still had toys on the floor. A family photo on the mantel showed Mr. and Mrs. Walker with their 3 kids, smiling, too wide. They set up camp in the master bedroom. That night, they began recording. Naomi. This is where Mr. Walker reportedly heard voices from the walls. Travis joked. Maybe the drywall was lonely. The lights flickered. Rachel's camera glitched. In the footage, a second shadow behind them. But no one noticed. Day 2, 2:33. Travis couldn't sleep. He heard footsteps above them, but there was no attic. He climbed to the 3rd floor. Each room was worse than the last. In one, the bed was carved with deep marks. Let us out scratched hundreds of times. Another room had a rocking chair facing a wall. It rocked on its own. He found a closet. Inside, a small wooden mask hung from a nail. Tribal. Old. Burnt. He touched it. A child's voice giggled behind him. He turned. No one. But now the mask was gone. Day 2, 4:14, and Rachel screamed. They rushed to her. She said something had whispered in her ear. "We remember your face." She hadn't left the room, yet her feet were muddy. They checked the footage. It showed her standing still, then vanishing for 4 minutes. When she reappeared, she was humming. She didn't remember it. That morning, Naomi wanted to leave, but the car wouldn't start. No signal, no GPS. The house was hungry. Day 3, 3:03 p.m. They explored the basement. Using bolt cutters, they broke the chains. The door groaned open. Inside was darkness and a staircase that descended too far for the size of the house. At the bottom, a stone room, symbols on the walls, burnt candles, a ring of bones, and a book, leather-bound, written in a language none of them knew. Elliot took pictures. Travis touched a symbol. The ground trembled. A voice rose from the floor. Harvest must continue. They ran. Behind them, a figure crawled up the stairs. Its limbs cracked in the wrong directions. It wore the wooden mask. Its voice was layered. "Man, woman, child, you broke the seal, now we take again." Nightfall. Naomi was missing. Her camera lay in the field outside, still recording. In the footage, she walked into the cornfield alone. She began to pray. Then she screamed. A dozen shadowy figures rose from the stalks, arms outstretched. They didn't run. They surrounded her. Then, silence. Elliot panicked. Rachel sat in the living room, mumbling. Children under the floor, blood on the ceiling. The harvest never ends. Her eyes were black. She smiled, then screamed so loud the windows cracked. When they tried to hold her, her body went limp. But the smile remained. That night, Elliot found Travis hanging from the 2nd floor, his mouth filled with soil. Final day. Only Elliot remained. He tried to run, but the house changed. Hallways led to rooms that didn't exist. Doors opened into walls. Time broke. At 3 a.m., every door opened at once. A storm of whispers flooded the house. They fed us once. You feed us now. He saw them, the walkers, still wearing their 1970s clothes, their faces pale and sewn shut. They surrounded him. The mask floated before him. He screamed. The footage cut to static. 2 weeks later, the camera was found at a gas station 40 miles away. No sign of Elliot or the others. But one frame, just before the footage ends, shows him inside the house. Only this time, he's in the background of the original Walker family photo, smiling too wide. Fog Town. Nobody remembered when the fog started. Some said it came the night the old coal mine collapsed. Others blamed the chemical plant that exploded in '98. But in the town of Grey Ditch, people just stopped asking questions. They stayed indoors. They shut their windows. They didn't go out after dark, except Jason. Jason Doyle was 22. He didn't believe in ghost stories. Grew up hearing about the whispering fog. But to him, Grey Ditch was just a dead town filled with sad, paranoid people. So one night, just after 11 p.m., he stepped outside with a flashlight and a GoPro strapped to his chest. "For all the believers out there," he said into the camera, "this is your proof that nothing's out here. Just fog and fear." He started walking toward the old town square. The fog was thick, hanging like wet sheets. It muffled every sound, making even his own footsteps sound distant. Street lamps flickered above, casting halos of pale light that disappeared into the mist. He passed the closed diner, the empty barber shop, the crumbling movie theater. Everything looked frozen. Then he heard it. A whistle. High-pitched, almost musical. He turned. No one. "Hello?" he called. Silence. He laughed nervously. "Nice try." He moved on. The temperature dropped suddenly. His breath turned white. Then he saw something ahead. A shape. Someone standing still in the road. He paused. The figure was wrong. Too tall. Its arms dangled low, its head cocked sideways. "Hey, you all right?" No response. Jason stepped closer. The figure didn't move. He raised his flashlight. The beam hit the figure and passed through, like mist. Then the figure vanished. Jason cursed, backing up. A whisper tickled his ear. "You shouldn't be here." He turned in a panic. Nothing behind him. His flashlight flickered. A second figure now stood 10 feet away. Smaller, like a child. It tilted its head, took a step forward. Jason ran. He bolted down an alley, heart pounding. The buildings around him blurred in the fog. He stopped behind a dumpster, trying to breathe. Footsteps. Soft. Slapping against pavement, coming closer. He peeked around the corner. Nothing. Then, slam. Something hit the dumpster from the other side. He screamed and ran again. He ended up near the old high school, long abandoned, windows boarded shut. The fog wrapped around the building like claws. The front doors creaked open. He was drawn in, whether by fear or curiosity, he didn't know. Inside was silent. Lockers rusted, ceiling tiles on the ground. His flashlight caught movement at the end of the hallway. A girl in a school uniform. Her back turned. She whispered something. Jason raised the camera. "Who are you?" She turned. Her eyes were gone. 2 black voids leaked smoke. She smiled, a wide, bloody grin, and screamed. The windows shattered. Jason fell backward and scrambled away, running into a classroom. The chalkboard was clean except for a single message. "You can't leave now." Every desk had a body slumped over it, uniforms, skin gray, eyes stitched shut. They began to move, slowly raising their heads. Jason ran again, out the back exit into the woods. Fog surrounded everything. He tripped and rolled down a hill, hitting something solid. He looked up. The old mine entrance. Barred. Chained. The chain was broken. Inside, The tunnel yawned open. From the darkness, voices called his name. Jason. Jason. He turned to leave, but the path behind was gone. Just fog. Nowhere to go but forward. He entered. The tunnel walls dripped. Rusted tools littered the ground. He heard breathing ahead. Not one person, many, dozens. Then he saw them. Miners, or what was left of them. Their skulls were cracked, helmets broken. One dragged a pickaxe with fingers made of bone. They surrounded him slowly. He screamed, backing into the wall. A deep voice echoed from the cave ceiling. "You brought the light. Now we show you the dark." His flashlight shattered. The camera kept rolling. The last thing it captured was Jason's face, eyes wide, mouth open, a shadow descending over him. Then static. 1 week later, the mayor of Greyditch received a package, no return address. Inside, Jason's camera, battery dead, lens cracked. But when they turned it on, it played, only fog. And from the speakers, a whisper. "We're not trapped in the fog. You are." The Drowning Place. In the heart of Oregon's pine forests, there lies a lake untouched by time. Locals call it Deadwater Lake. Once a thriving resort town bloomed around it, until 1985, when all 17 guests at the lakeside lodge disappeared overnight. No bodies, no struggle, just silence. They drained the lake the next year. They found nothing. No cars, no bones. Just dark silt and something pulsing beneath it, so they filled it back in, fenced it off, and forgot. Present day, Maya and her brother Chris didn't believe in cursed water. They were urban explorers and YouTubers with 2 million subscribers. Deadwater was perfect for their Halloween special. They rented a cabin near the lake, one of the last still standing. A local man warned them, "You hear splashing after sundown. Don't look out the window." Maya laughed. Chris rolled his eyes. The man didn't. Night. 11:42 p.m. The lake was a mirror. Maya stood on the porch, filming the reflection of the moon. Then she noticed it. Ripples. Something moved just beneath the surface. Chris came out squinting. "It's just a fish," he said. But Maya kept filming. The camera caught it. A shape. Long, pale, dragging limbs. No eyes. No face. It hovered just under the surface. Then it vanished. Beat 2. 1:07 a.m. They heard footsteps on the dock, but no one was there. Chris checked the drone footage. It showed 2 figures standing at the edge of the dock at 12:59 a.m. One was Chris. The other was someone behind him, tall and soaked, face hidden by dripping black hair. Chris had been alone. Day 3. The deep room. They explored the basement of the cabin, rare for lake houses. They found a locked door. Behind it, a room tiled like a bathhouse. The floor had a large covered drain. On the walls were markings, names, scratched deep, some still bleeding. One was Maya's. She hadn't been down there before. That evening, Chris went to shower. Maya reviewed the drone feed and paused. Frame by frame, the camera showed something crawling out of the lake. Naked, thin, covered in leeches. It walked backwards. Its head turned all the way around and looked up at the drone. 2:33 a.m. Chris was gone. Maya found the bathroom door wide open, the tub full, but the water was black. She drained it slowly. At the bottom, a tooth. Human. Fresh. She packed to leave, but the car keys were in Chris's coat, which was floating in the lake. She ran inside, locked the doors, boarded the windows, but water dripped from the ceiling. She looked up. Chris stood on the ceiling, upside down. His mouth opened and only lake water poured out. He spoke, voice gurgling. "It remembers your name now." Then he vanished. The final night. Maya tried to stay awake, but the whispers started. From inside the walls. From the drains. From the lake. She tried to block it out, but she blinked just once. And she was standing waist deep in the lake. No memory of getting there. The moon above her. the cold below. Hands grabbed her ankles. She screamed and clawed back to shore, coughing water and blood. On the sand was a message. One always leaves, one always stays. 1 week later. Hikers found Maya on the side of the highway, shivering, silent. The police returned to the cabin. Chris was never found, but on the dock, they found 2 sets of wet footprints, one leading into the lake and one leading out. Final footage from Maya's camera. She sits in the cabin, eyes wide, whispering to herself. Then, just before the screen cuts to black, she turns and says, almost dreamily, "It only drowns those who scream."